Hello, everyone. Welcome to Be Social Simple. My name is Jonathan Saar from Market Me Social, and we are looking forward to another fantastic episode today. So, hey, sis, glad to have you on the show. Welcome to episode 2. How are you doing?
Doing good. Happy to be here. Let's get going on this. We got some good information today.
Yeah, so today's topic is about your website and a few simple, actionable items that you can think about for 2021 that will improve your site today. So what do we have on the list, sis?
Just some pretty basic stuff that every website owner should be doing at the beginning of every year. You're starting it off with a full site audit. Let's go with that. What should website owners be looking at?
Yeah, full site audit. So lots of great tools that are out there, free ones. First of all, if we're going to look at it from an SEO perspective, SEMrush has an extension that you can install, a Chrome extension. They call it SEO Quake. We'll put that into the show notes and the blog notes. Great, simple tool to give you a nice overview on the SEO on your page. And it will help you kind of identify your H tags, your alt tags, your title, your meta description. So real basic items. So I would definitely recommend that as part of a site audit. I would also look at your site and just see if there's anything that you can repurpose. So from a blog content perspective, is there anything from last year that has new material? So don't rewrite it. Don't rewrite it. Look at the content, update it, and republish it with the current date. Now you could make notes, 2020 version. Here's some updates. Obviously provide some reasons why the content is updated if you feel it's necessary, depending on the topic. But definitely look back into your archives, especially if you have articles that are ranked well. Don't try and rewrite another article about the same topic. You'll actually make things worse for your site. So make that part of your audit for your site. Definitely use the tools that are available to you, like Google Search Console, PageSpeed Insights. Do that kind of an audit. Pay attention to your page speed ranking, and don't get too crazy about it. Nobody's perfect with this. It takes basically having a plain website with nothing on it to get 100% sometimes. But there are some actionable tips that you can get from that type of an audit. So do your page audit, page audit from a page speed perspective is also really important. So those are the things that come to my mind. So page speed, SEO audit, look at your archived content, see if you can repurpose it. And also don't forget to make sure that your site is mobile accessible. You think that would be a no-brainer, but believe it or not, we get calls on a regular basis, and the website, I kid you not, is from the 1990s. And even if you have just made it just a few years ago, you still need to look at it because things have changed so much with website accessibility, how what mobile design should look like, that you still want to take a look at it and just make sure that your site is current. So hopefully you have that in your budget to kind of take a look at those things. A facelift is really not that expensive these days if you're looking for just maybe a theme change or something along that line. So that's what I would list as part of an SEO audit. Did I cover anything? Do you have anything, sis, that you would add to that?
No, I like the heavily focus on the behind the scenes stuff that a lot of people kind of forget about. And with your point about the mobile, that is so important for certain websites. Like over 90% of the traffic is doing it from their phones. So if your website is not mobilely enabled, then stuff is going to get chopped off. It's going to look funky. It's not going to load properly, and people are just going to click away. So mobile, super, super important. You started talking about appearance there, about a theme change. What would make you advise a client, maybe it's time to update this? What's some things that you would say are kind of red flags that you need to change nowadays?
Yeah, good question. So number one, if your theme has not been updated by its original developer for some time, that should be a red flag. Not that themes often go through updates, but theme developers, theme providers should be providing, updated theme just based on how things are changing. So if your theme is, 3 years old or older, or um, it doesn't really seem like there's just much traction, I would take a look at it. And again, this isn't saying that you may have to change your theme, especially if you already have your custom website. We're not talking about that. But a lot of medium to small size businesses do use a theme as the template for their website, which is good because it's very, very cost effective. But those are some things I would keep in mind. And plus, it's good to look at it from the perspective of, if you have done an audit, do you see where there's problems? And is your theme contributing to it? Like, are certain parts of the page never clicked on? Do people never view it? Never. So you got to look at your hotspots on your website to see what's going on. And it could be theme related. It could be the way that it's laid out. It's just not conducive. So your website, living in this virtual world, it is absolutely imperative to make sure that you do everything you can to convert your visitors. So that's another metric. If you start seeing, boy, I get a couple thousand visits a month, but nobody fills out my contact form, well, it may be your theme. Content is another whole subject, but it could be just the way it's the site navigation is there, internal links, how they're laid out, and whether or not your theme could be playing into that. So just kind of keep that in mind and make that part of the conversation. Is your design, is it contributing to website conversion, or is there evidence that it's making it difficult for your website to convert? That makes sense?
That makes total sense. It's, again, really great points there, and the good lead in there. So now we've talked about the behind the scenes, your SEO. We've talked about appearance. Now let's talk about some of the content. Businesses have changed, especially since with COVID. You may have new services. You may have changed the way you've done business. So how should that be reflected in the content that's on the website now?
And especially with a degree of sensitivity around that. I mean, there are some PR concerns. You have to be careful if you are adjusting your content to have a voice about social issues that are going on. So be careful about just putting some statement out there about COVID as an example, and really there's nothing to, your business has really nothing to do with it. So if you're going to talk about those social issues, and COVID is just one of many that are going on right now, make sure that you have like a consistent reason as to why you're talking about that. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Be very sensitive to the social issues that are going on out there. And we touched on this. Already. Archive content, not only blogs, but even your static content. So, for instance, your services page, that should be really, really reviewed to make sure that it's easy to click through. People can find what they're looking for. That there's resources that are available to them. So that's really part of perhaps the overall audit that we talked about earlier. But you want to look at it from a mobile perspective too. So if your calls to action take, like, for instance, you're going like this, and if they have to, it's like this, it's almost like it's like the 2 or 3 finger rule. and you see me scrolling on my iPad. Well, just imagine if that's the case. Here you're on your phone and you're doing the same thing, and that call to action is so far down. Well, it's no wonder why maybe your site's not converting. So those are some things to look at too, is really, are you giving people what they need right away, or are you trying to stuff it so much with text and about the stuff that you do that it just gets lost? Like, what are they supposed to do? So that's another thing to keep in mind.
Awesome. Great points again. So we've talked about behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, making it user friendly for your clients. What would be some of your recommendations when it comes to adding some marketing type add-ons to a website that would help with those conversion rates?
Yeah, good question. So you could have the most perfect site. You could be like, well, hey, Jonathan, Taryn, I've done all the things that you just said. I've done an audit. I've got a great theme. We've reviewed our text on our site. It's SEO friendly. We have decent rankings, but we're still struggling with conversions. So a couple of tools that we use, and there are others that are very similar, but I noticed a difference when I put them together. So I'm going to talk about Opt-in Monster just for a moment. Link will be in the show notes and on the blog. So Opt-in Monster is one of those software tools that you can install on your website and provides a reason for people to sign up for your newsletter, as an example. It grabs their attention. It knows what the person is doing on your website. It knows the difference between a new visitor and returning visitor. So all valuable information so that you can provide the most relevant message to whoever is on your website. So we use Opt-in Monster for our clients, and I love it. I think it's a great tool. Now, in conjunction with that, they also have another tool, which at first I didn't use. I really wanted to see the difference. And their auxiliary tool is called Trust Pulse. Trust Pulse, P-U-L-S-E. And that provides that sentimentality token to help people sign up for that newsletter. So in other words, what they see is on the bottom with this particular plugin, so-and-so just signed up for your newsletter. So-and-so just bought this. So-and-so just did this. And it's a very simple, out of the way little banner that pops up, but it lends itself to its name. It builds trust. And that is like it's always been a buzzword, but the statistics continue to go down on how much people trust anything. So if you want to showcase, and again, this isn't fake stuff. This is Trust Pulse knows someone signed up for the newsletter and it will showcase it. Someone just bought this. It isn't fake material. It is real. It is tracking these actions on your website. And so that helps build trust. And so that in turn helps people to sign up for your newsletter or purchase your product. So I think that's a big item that it's worth. If you're spending all this money on your website, you need conversions from your website, I would seriously consider those tools and see how they could benefit your company and build those conversions. At the very least, you should be building your email list, which is a subject for another episode. But that's my perspective on 2021 and some things that you need to be definitely paying attention to. What do you think, sis? Did I miss anything? You have any thoughts?
No, I think that it's pretty much sums it up. It's not as overwhelming as you might think, and it's necessary. I remember when when we were talking about this subject, we talked about what Henry Ford said, and it says, businesses that grow by development and improvement do not die. So we have, as a business, you cannot be stagnant. You have to continue to grow. And that part of it is taking the time to take a look at your website, clean it up a bit. So really great points today. simple, easy things that can be done and changed relatively painlessly.
Yeah.
And make sure that you're up to date.
Perfect. Yeah, great quote. That's a great way to close the show out. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Little did Mr. Henry Ford know that where we would be at in this day and age with technology and the speed that technology changes, and where his vehicles are now, where Ford's at. So very good. Yeah, thank you so much. Good topics. So we appreciate everyone who looks at the show, has been on the show. Please hit that thumbs up, hit the like button, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We appreciate your support. This is a complimentary marketing education, and we're grateful to have you paying attention to our show and clicking on it and share it with your friends. So that is episode 2. Is your website 2021 ready? And we thank you for being here. Thank you again, Sis, for being my awesome co-host. We'll see everybody on our next episode.
Bye.